Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
As the gun goes and the power goes down on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club qualifier 1 in November for these women. Just dropping back in now with our category 1 riders in this leading race as we start to see this group start to stretch a little here as we see Bauer go off the front and Marin go as well. 20 riders is still too many because it's the top 5 that are going to count in the category 1 and the top 5 in category 2, and there's too many riders in this group. Gilson kicks 7.7 watts per kilo. Oliveri's watching, so's Bauer. Gilson is not going to get away with putting this gap in here. Maria Marin today is covering everything. Bauer kicking on behind, towing the rest of the group up as Gilson tries to go over the top again, and Marin and Bauer controlling the front of that group. The kicks are starting to come. They've got 200 metres left to race as the banner is about to come into sight. Bauer, Brogan, Gilson, Marin, Oliveri, and Marin kicks at 11 watts per kilo. 9, 10, 1, Bauer, Gilson. 4 riders over that line together. Oh, we need that. Look at that. So as Oliveri comes in for 5th place, the results come up. Jojo Bauer takes it from Rebecca Gilson. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. And welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. My name is Emma Martin and I am with you today for qualifier race number 2. It is the 13th of November and we saw some amazing riding from our women last week with a 4-way sprint in category 1 and a 5-way sprint in category 2. I can't wait to see what happens today. It's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and the women today are on the Talmorib route. So 35.8 kilometres distance, 595 metres of elevation. Yes, you are right. If you've already watched the men's race today, the women have more climbing today than our men. So 2 laps today for the women, 17.9 kilometres a lap. And what a lap it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4 climbs per lap today. 2 category 4 climbs in each. So over 2 laps, that's 4 category 4 climbs. And they are really steep today. So one at 900 metres, 9.3% average, 800 metres, 6.3% average, 900 metres again, 12.3% average gradient. And then our less steep climb, 1.6 kilometres, 1.5% average gradient. Now, these gradients, when it says an average gradient of 12.3%, expect to see that gradient go 14, 15, 16% in places. It is really steep today and relentless. It is a real puncher's course today for these women. The last time we were on this course was qualifier 2 in October. And we saw Gilson time trial away for the win in 1 hour and 5 minutes. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens today. So category 1 teams today, victorious team, Team the Clover, the Andinas cycling team, Spartan Obstacles and Las Colombianas. Las Colombianas took the win in October. They took the win in September. And Spartan Obstacles took second to them both times. Good to see some new team names coming in and some new teams arriving. And it's going to be really interesting as we move towards the end of this month and the team competition for those yellow jersey wearers. So category 2 today in our green jerseys, we have the Whooshers, we have Team RT Cycle Zone Ladies 1, we have Team Golden Light and Team Fitness 10. So last month it was the Tri Women who took the Category 2 team win, but good to see some new teams in here and 29 riders on the start sheets today for Category 2 alongside those 4 teams. Category 3 in the blue jerseys today, Climate Girls. Adriana Barco representing them today. 11 riders in Category 3 today, and just the 1 team in those blue jerseys, because we've also introduced, as you remember from last week, a red jersey category number 4. New for November, so moving from 3 categories on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club to 4 categories. And today, Fire Girls are represented by Isabel Giraldo and Maria Jose Gallego. So 13 riders today in Category 4 on the start sheets and 1 team. So in total today, we have 89 women on our start sheets today, and it'll be really interesting to see how many have made it to the start line, as they've got about 45 seconds to spin their legs out and finish warming up before we get underway today. So as our riders are down on the start line, 89 riders on the start sheets, 4 race categories today, and a really challenging race course in front of them. 35.8 kilometres for them today on this race course, 2 full laps of the Talmorib route. And it's going to be hard and it's going to be relentless today. But I think we are going to see some amazing riding. So as we go off the start line today, we are in with Gemma Brogan, and the kicks are coming because the break needs to be made, and getting in the front of that group is really important on this start sheet today. So we have a flat start today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, as Brogan is in part and parcel of this group as this pack move from the start today. So you can see on the top right hand corner of your screen, the start has started to spread that pack through the road as these riders push to form the front group on the road today. So 500 metres into the race, the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club qualifier number 2 for November. We just take a look back down through the field. We're in with Maria Jose Gallego, one of our Category 4 riders today, as she and her compatriots in Category 4 and Category 3 are moving through that field. In fact, Novilin Conan, one of our Category 2 riders, is just on the back of that group in front as she pushes on, just not wanting to come off the back of the group there. It's a large group that are still together. This is a flat start today. It's a flat start, and it is highly likely that it's going to cause us create us, should I say, a large pack to roll through around the first 5 kilometres of this course on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club today. This first 5 kilometres are fairly flat before we go into the bottom of our first climb. And I think we're going to see a very large group of riders ride through the flatlands until we get to the bottom of that climb, where the action will start today. So you can clearly see here our yellow jersey Category 1 racers pushing through that group and ensuring they are in a strong position at the start of this race. We have our Category 2 green jersey riders in here as well, and some strong riders here. Last time we were on this course, Gary Oni, Jenny Sanchez and Olsen took the 1, 2, 3 in the Category 2 race. Our blue jersey wearing Category 3 riders. Last time we were here, it was Quintero, Dadson and Kabatan that took the 1, 2, 3. And we just dropped back here in with Jenny Tan. Jenny Tan, one of our Category 2 riders. This small group are just distanced from the pack ahead. And it's looking like Tan and Pardini, and Erin Poulton is in there as well. Erin Poulton, one of our Category 4 riders. Good race and ride from Poulton last week. And Georgina Hyde in there as well, actually. But Georgina Hyde in amongst that front group. Hyde last week in that Category 4 race, taking 3rd place. So last week, our Category 4 was the first time out for our Category 4 riders, actually. And Dadson took the very first win in Category 4 with Tandingen and Hyde following in 2nd and 3rd. So really looking forward to seeing how that Category 4 plays out as we roll through November. And taking a look there, in fact, just off the back of that bunch. In fact, Jenny Tan might be starting to close down that gap, and a little bit more of a push from Jenny. Yep, there we go. Just popping up to 5-6 watts per kilo. So Jenny Tan just pushing on, just trying to close that juncture. She's 2 seconds back from the back of that lead group, but looking at that group ahead, 60 riders still in that group as Tan is pushing. Come on, we just need to see Tan push a little bit harder just to close that gap. So important to see if you can stay. The longer you can stay in that group, the better the race, the better the ride, the better opportunity you have as she just closes down on that group ahead. So this group now, really large lead group in this women's race today. So in with Georgiana Hyde. Hyde placed 3rd in that Category 4 race last week. Really good, really strong start. Still in that lead group, but that lead group is a really large leading group today. As we just move through that lead group and we come up to the front of that, this group is just rolling around with the lead changing quite regularly. But a large number of our Category 1 jersey wearers and our Category 2, Category 3 and a smattering of Category 4 riders in there at the moment. We knew this was going to be a large group K until we get to the base of climb number 1. So we are in with the riders of the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We're here with the women's race on the Talmarib route today. It is a punchy climbers course today. They're short climbs, but they are exceptionally steep climbs today. This lead group that we are looking at here, currently with 56 riders in this lead group. So a large lead group, but not surprising, the first 4.7 kilometres of this race are fairly flat on this race course today. So a large group has gone off this start line together, and a large group is still rolling very, very comfortably, as we can see here on these roads, rolling through towards the bottom of the first climb today. So we are in with Jenny Sanchez. Sanchez, always one of our really strong Category 2 riders. Very regularly at the front when we see the race finish in a sprint, but we're just dropping back here now. It's looking like Kokkonen has just dropped off that group. So currently 54 riders in that lead group. Kokkonen and Tandingen have just dropped off the back there. Kokkonen just putting in a little push to try and make the juncture and come back to that group. But in fact, I think possibly just going to look at that, showing you exactly how it's done. Drop off the back of the group, just put in a bit of a dig. So important to try and stay in that group for as long as possible. As we see the front of this race hit the first climb today. So 12.2% gradient as the road kicks up here, and you can see that kick and you can see the sweeping left-hand bend of this climb ahead, and you can see what it's doing to this group. So 56 riders went into this group. They rolled through the flatlands together. These 56 riders are now being stretched and being stretched really long and thin out across this climb, particularly if you take a look at that caption on the right-hand corner of your screen. It shows you the coloured blobs on the road and the fact that these riders are starting and gaps are starting to form and groups are starting to form on the road. So Julie Sanchez, should I say. Jenny Sanchez is also in the race. Julie and Jenny both riding today. So Julie Sanchez pushing on at the front of this group now, 7 watts per kilo. There's a large number of category 2 riders in this group, not just category 1 riders, and Julie really putting down some power now to try and break this group up into smaller groups and take less riders through the rest of the course. So Sanchez working hard, Manchandi behind, Quevedo, Menzies, Estrada, Marin, Oliveri. These riders pushing on the pedals now, strong riding, 6 watts per kilo up this climb, really trying to form a more elite lead group on the road today. So Sanchez really not giving up her push for this climb today as she continues to push up this climb. She's punching hard. It's 900 meters in length, this climb. It is not long, 9.3% average gradient. But as you can see, that gradient is still kicking over 12% at the moment as Sanchez and Morgane Olsen is trying to go with it. And this group is pushing. It's a steady push. There's still a large number of riders in this group, and it is only climb 1 today. This is our first category 4 climb of this course today. 4 category 4 climbs in total. In fact, the riders do both category 4 climbs twice because it's 2 laps today, 2 laps of a 17.9 kilometre course. So just off the back of this front group, we are in with Mia. Reynard is in here as well, Sinelli as well. So a group here just off the back of this lead group. In fact, they were with that lead group, which is really giving us a good indication of what's happening. So it's looking as though we have 23 riders in the lead group. So 23 riders in the lead group. And it was looking as though that was around 14 seconds clear of the chase riders. So 14 riders now in this lead group. 56 riders went into the bottom of climb 1 altogether in a large pack after around a 4.7 kilometre flat start. After our first climb, that group is down to 23 riders. In fact, actually our 23rd rider, Galuma, is just pushing hard off the back of that. The pack have gone over the top of this climb and have started the descent without her. And once that momentum starts rolling, you really need to push if you want to get back on that group because this descent is really tricky to get back on. So whilst the riders in that pack are recovering at 2 watts per kilo. In fact, Jenny Sanchez making the benefit of that draft at the moment. So Galuma just getting caught out over the brow of that hill and just off the back now. In fact, we've got a few riders just getting caught out here and just getting distanced. It's not just Galuma. We've got the main group with a couple of riders, just 2 riders off the back, and then Galuma just a little bit further back again. So at the front of this group, Gemma Brogan pushing on, Morgane Olsen, Menzies, Zabata, Quevedo, Maria Marin. These riders coming to the fore on this front pack, just rolling through and rolling off at quite a nice, comfortable, steady pace for these riders at the moment. They've utilised the recovery on the downhill here before they see the transitions. A small flatland transition now that they've got to the bottom before they start the next climb. And in fact, look at that ahead. You can see the next climb starting at the end of this bridge. So they come over the bridge, they come across the water, and the climb starts as they head up into the forest. So Bauer, Quevedo, Ortiz, Brogan, Estrada. These riders riding very comfortably now in this lead group, and Galuma indeed has been distanced off the back, as we can see. But this pack at the front are not moving with much pace at the moment. It is a really steady recovery pace as they transition between climb number 1 and climb number 2 on this course. So Galuma back in 22nd place, 7 seconds back now off this group. So 21 riders now clear in this lead group, 5 seconds back to the chasing rider. In fact, taking a look back down there, one of the surprising things there is Manshandi is actually in 23rd place, 26 seconds back off of that front group. So Manshandi not making the selection today, which is really surprising. A little bit further back, we are looking at a chasing group of category 2 riders in those green jerseys. So Elenia Sinelli in there, Elodie Reynard in there as well. These riders, strong category 2 riders, but missed the group there. In fact, there we go. Manshandi has indeed not made that selection. So Galuma in 22nd, 15 seconds back is Manshandi in 23rd, and then a group of category 2 riders riding through there behind Manshandi. So taking a look through this field, it's also looking like Marlena Bjarhed there is riding with Galuma as well. So that's looking now like 20 riders in that lead group. 2 chase riders, Galuma and Bjarhed, 21st and 22nd. And then Manshandi just this little bit further back. So Manshandi a little bit in no man's land at the moment. Galuma and Bjarhed are front. These 2 riders just off the back of that leading group up ahead, which they can see, but they are on this climb at the moment. Then Manshandi in no man's land between these 2 riders and the chasing group behind of category 2 riders. So starting to split this and splitting in 1s, 2s and small groups, as it's looking as though the front group are about to go over the brow of that hill and start to drop off the other side. So Bjarhed caught out here along with Galuma and Manshandi. These 3 category 1 riders caught out here in the split and the selections being made early in this race. So this race, 2 laps today. These climbs are short, but they are really steep. The average gradients ranging from 6.3% to 12.3%. Really deceptive because the gradients will kick 14, 15, 16% on one of these category 4 climbs today. In fact, this climb at the moment, 9.8%. As you can see on that graphic on the right-hand corner of your screen, the riders really spread all over the road. So dropping in with the front pack at the moment, we've got Maria Marin, Karub Quevedo, Julie Sanchez, Jojo Bauer here, all in this group as they drop off the side of climb number 2 and straight up and into climb number 3 on this course today. Climb number 3, our second category 4 climb on each of these laps today. This climb is steep, this climb is hard, 900 meters in length, 12.3% average gradient, but this gradient will really, really kick, as it is one of our category 2 riders that's decided 20 riders is too many, as Gary Oni pushes on at the front and Julie Sanchez goes with her. The other riders are stretched out behind. This is really steep, and I'm not sure they really want to push this hard this early. So on this second category 4 climb on this lap, Martina Garioni, one of our category 2 riders, has really put the claim down and said 20 riders is too many for me. Even if you category 1 riders don't want to do anything about this, I do. And she's pushed on this climb. The group is coming back to her, however, and I don't think this is going to stick as they push on up this climb, as this gradient starts to kick. 13.3% at the moment as they start to go round this left-hand bend on this climb. This is a large group of riders, but they are starting to gap some of the riders, and they're having to work really hard on the back of this group to stay on. We're starting to see some of these riders at Gaviria here. Biarhead and Gloomer have already been dropped off the back of this. In fact, Manshandi is there as well, and Manshandi seems to be riding with Biarhead and Gloomer now. But Gaviria looking to be the one in trouble at the moment, and the one just off the back of this group. So it's looking like 20 are going to become 19 as one of our category 2 riders becomes the rider in trouble here today. So Biarhead, Gloomer and Manshandi, 3 category 1 riders who got distance from that lead group early on, earlier than we would have expected for Manshandi and Biarhead particularly. We often expect these 2 riders to be right in the thick of it, but there's a lot of racing going on at the moment and a lot of tired legs because of it. So back in with the lead group, Zabata pushing on at the front there, and I'm loving seeing our strong category 2 women really try and shake things up a bit, whereas our category 1 riders are happier to wait probably until the next lap before they start to make their mark on this race. Our category 2 riders are saying not having any of that. There's too many category 2 riders in this lead group for us to be happy. A little bit further down the field, we've got other category 1 riders who we would normally be looking at in that front group. So we've got Giraldo and Embring in here with Pardini, one of our category 2 riders. Again, Giraldo and Embring, normally part and parcel of that front group, but looking to qualify here, not necessarily looking for a top 5 position today, looking to qualify and get a verified race performance so that they qualify for the November final. So 3 qualifying rounds in November, just dependent upon how many Sundays there are in the month. So 3 in November. Our riders need 2 qualification or verified finishes to qualify for the final this month in November. So that is indeed the structure of the Sunday Race Club. So individual races during qualifiers, and then the team competition comes into play in the final of each month as well. So you need 2 qualifying races with 2 post-race verifications to be eligible for that monthly final. If you are interested in joining us, registrations for the Sunday Race Club events close 12 hours prior to race start. All categories have to submit weigh-in videos and perform dual verification to be part and parcel of the Sunday Race Club, and failure to do so may result in an annulment of your finish. All new entrants to the Sunday Race Club were placed in category 1 until we have race data collected so that we can ensure you are in the correct category. And that is really important because we have 4 categories of racing, and ensuring you are in with like riders for competitive racing is really important. Our category 1, category 2, category 3 and category 4 races are well matched, and those fields are well matched, which enables us to get the best of racing for you and the best of racing for us to watch as well. So if you are interested in joining us, head over to the MyWhoosh platform on mywhoosh.com. If you've not given MyWhoosh a ride before, download the app and have a ride. There are lots of things you can do, from free rides to events and bunch rides to racings, workouts and training programs. You can take a good look and try a huge range of activities out on the MyWhoosh platform. If you are interested in joining us on the Sunday Race Club, head over to the events page on the MyWhoosh platform. There you will find all the information you need about joining the Sunday Race Club. You can also take a look at the technical guide, the rule set, the frequently asked questions, and I would strongly recommend you have a look at those documents because they will give you all the information you need around submitting your weigh-in video, submitting your dual recording, and the timeframes to which you need to do those activities. It's great to have our regular riders on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's even greater when the start sheets come through to see new names on those start sheets as well, and to have new people riding and racing with us. So please do head over if you are interested and sign up and come and join us. Prize money, as you may well be aware, is individual for all the qualifier rounds. So the prize pot today is around 65,000 AED. That is around $17,500 and around £15,000 sterling, depending upon which currency you are more attuned to. In the final of each month, the team prize comes into play as well. So individual prizes, first place through to fifth place in all 4 categories today. So lots to race and lots to ride for, not just prize money, but verification of results and qualification for the final. So we are back in with Liliana Moreno. Moreno still in this front group as they are moving through this parkour today. A little bit further back down here, Kokkonen is in this group. We've got a number of good riders in this group. This is a category 2 group. Let's have a little look through here. Tejeros. We have Joy Mia. We have Kokkonen. We have Reynard in here. Hermassen, Lisa Hermassen is about a minute back down the road. Surprising, but Ursula Bardaskova is there as well. So a number of riders we would expect to see much further up the field today. But taking the ride, racing and riding and ensuring a qualification for the final, but a huge amount of, as we said earlier on, of racing going on at the moment for these women. A lot of tired legs out there, but still wanting to ensure that they qualify for the final and get those verified rides in. So whilst not at the front of this race today, part and parcel of it and ensuring that verification ride for their team spot. So back in with the front of this group, we had 20 riders go into our second category for climb today. And this group is still a large group. So Karub Quevedo currently heading out this group. Maria Ortiz in here, Karub Quevedo, Jojo Bauer, Jacina Menzies, Morgan Olsen, one of our category 2 riders, Zabata, Gaviria, another category 2 rider, Liliana Moreno, Gemma Brogan. Brogan having a really good run of racing at the moment. Brogan finishing 4th last week, but it was a 4-up sprint and you could hardly split those women last week. Bauer, Gilson, Marin and Brogan went over that line together and there was about 0.13 of a second between our top 4 women last week. So a little bit further back down the field, we're in with Lynette Cabanata. Lynette here, currently in 40th position today, one of our category 3 blue jersey riders. Looking strong and looking good, and I'm just taking a little look back there. We seem to have a couple of chasing category 3 riders, but it's looking like Cabanata has got a gap here of just around 35-40 seconds on second place in the category 3 race. Lorenza Ribaldo is about 40 seconds back now, and then another 40 seconds back to third place. So it's looking as though that category 3 race going really strongly there for Lynette Cabata, 40th position on the road at the moment today. So back in with our lead group. We are 14.3 kilometres travelled on this race today. So it's a 2-lap race today, each lap 17.9 kilometres in length. These women are just coming up on to the brow nearly of the final climb of the day. Well, the final climb of lap 1 today, should we say. We have another lap to do. But at 14.6 kilometres travelled, the gradient is about to drop and then roll down to the flatlands at the bottom for the flat run in to the finish of lap 1 and the start of lap 2. So 17.9 kilometre laps, 2 laps, 35.8 kilometres race distance today, 595 metres of elevation over these 2 laps, 2 category 4 climbs per lap, as we can see on the picture in front of you today. So our women at the moment are on the flatland sections running into the finish at the end of lap 1 there. They have gone over 2 category 4 climbs and 2 uncategorized climbs on this course today. It is a really challenging course. These gradients kick 14, 15, 16%. And we've seen a large group of women go into the bottom of the first climb of the day. In fact, 56 riders went in that lead group to the first climb of the day. 23 riders went over the top, and slowly that front group has whittled down. We are in at the moment with Georgiana Hyde. Georgiana Hyde is having a cracking ride today. She hung in with that lead group on that flatland section to the bottom of that first climb, and that has tactically given her a brilliant advantage in this category 4 race. So Hyde working really well today in this category 4 race. Her tactics have worked brilliantly for her. She stayed in that group for the first 5 kilometres, and it has given her a great advantage over her competitors today. Hyde finished in 3rd place in that category 4 race last week. So looking like she's done some learning and really started to think about what she wants to do and how she wants to play those tactics out. But a really good, strong race there from Georgiana Hyde at the moment in category 4. So we are back in with our category 1 and category 2 leading riders. Some really strong riders in this group at the moment, and some strong riders hiding in this group at the moment, I'm going to say, because Jojo Bauer is in this group, but we have not seen her at the front. She's lurking in there, taking a lot of shelter, taking a lot of cover, and just tapping along and keeping her legs fresh. So we've got a split screen at the moment, and some of the riders we would have expected to have seen in that lead group a little bit further back down the field. So Catherine Fuhr, Ursula Bardeskaya, Lisa Hermansen, Lantani. So some strong riders here, but this group a little bit further back. This, as we said, it's a real punchy course. And we're not expecting everybody to be at the front of the race all the time. Lots of people have very different training programs, very different racing programs, and it influences what happens when they are looking for a qualification for the final on the Sunday Race Club. Some Sundays they will be at the front of the race playing it out for 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Other Sundays they are just here looking for a qualification, and I imagine that is what some of our riders in this race are doing today. So Marin on the front of this pack, and this pack have whittled themselves down, and we'll take a bit of a look back in a moment, and we'll try and work out for you exactly how many women there are in this lead group. But we are just back in with some strong, so Elenia Sinelli at the moment, one of our really strong category 2 riders in this group, with Galuma and Bjarhead. So this group is really starting to come together now. We had Galuma on her own at one point, Manshandi on her own at one point, and Bjarhead. So these riders have now started to come together. They were 1s and 2s off the back of the group, and they've now started to form a pack that can actually work together through this course. So this is a good group and a nice looking, strong working group. So Galuma here, Sinelli, Manshandi, 28, 30 seconds back to the group behind. The group behind has Joy Mir in it. It's got Elodie Reynard in it, so a good group of chasing Category 2 riders there, but this group working really quite well. Still quite a number of Category 2 riders in our front group though, so Martina Garioni definitely in there. We've seen Sanchez in there, Gavira is in there, Morgane Olsen is in there, so looking like 3 or 4 Category 2 riders in this front group at the moment. So just rolling through here, it is looking like we have around, so 18, 19, are we looking maybe 20 riders still in this group as they go through the banner that indicates the end of lap 1 and the start of lap 2. So with one full lap to go in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club women's race today, we are on the Talmore Reeb route as these women face 2 Category 4 climbs and 2 uncategorised climbs now between them and the finish today. The first Category 4 climb on this course facing them last lap, we saw 56 riders go in at the bottom, 23 riders come over the top in the lead group. And we have seen these riders whittled down further and further as this course has progressed. So 20 riders currently in this lead group today at the end of lap 1 and the start of lap 2. We have strong Category 2 riders in this group, as well as our Category 1 riders. So we are expecting fireworks this lap to break this group up. A little bit further back down the field, we're in with Marina Santiago, as we have a good, strong group forming here and working well together. Bardeskaya, Santiago, Fua, Tan. This is a good group working. In fact, Tan is just off that group as a further group further back down the field, and these groups keep rolling through and changing. Just a little bit further up the road, we can see another group, including Kokona in there as well, as we move through and round. So this group of 6 riders here, 3 Category 3, 3 Category 2, 3 Category 1 riders working well together here. A little bit further up the road, though, at 19 kilometres now travelled on this course, we are in with the group of 20 riders at the front of this race. So 20 riders at the front of this race, they are currently on the flatland sections between the end of lap 1 and the start of the climbing on lap 2, as Carmona works through comfortably in the middle of this group as we sweep round this left-hand bend. This group all very, very comfortable together at the moment, rolling at a real steady pace between 2.5 watts per kilo and 3 watts per kilo. This really is recovery and quite comfortable pace for these women at the moment. This race really has not lit up yet. So Moreno at the moment, if you take a look at the top left-hand corner of your screen, we've got some stats on each rider as we roll through. So Moreno currently sitting at 138 watts, currently in green, indicating Moreno is taking full benefit of the draft in the middle of that group. If that number turned to black, we would then note that the rider is not in the draft. So 86, 85 RPM, so revs per minute in terms of leg cadence, and a current heart rate of 163 beats per minute. So the stats there you'll see for each rider as we change and roll through our shots in the group. Are currently travelling at 34 kph as we just drop back further down with and in with 2 of our Category 3 riders, but you can still see time covered so far and distance covered so far to round out the stats that you can see in that top left-hand corner. So our Category 3-2 riders currently on the road working together, currently sat in 43rd and 44th position, as just under 4k further down the road we have our group of 20 riders in our front group on the road today. So we're here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as Martina Garioni shows us very comfortably that she can sit in this front group on this course today. So Garioni, one of our really strong Category 2 riders, but this group are clear, well clear of the chasing group behind them, and they are rolling through this flatland section, and in about 2 kilometres time will come up and onto the first climb of this final lap today. They will then face 2 Category 4 climbs and 2 uncategorised climbs before they drop off the final climb and into the flatland finish today, and the finish banner that will greet them. So 20 riders at the moment in this lead group, and they are very, very comfortable. Garioni's heart rate currently around 143. Garioni's heart rate we have seen much higher than that, and this is a really comfortable pace for the women in this group at the moment. So Garioni and her other 19 riders in this lead group still very, very comfortable, as we just see a split screen at the moment. The chasing group here, or one of the chasing groups here on the road behind, around 900 metres behind the lead group on the road, we have, I am looking at this thinking we've got a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders here. About a minute and 40, 1 minute 40 back from the lead group. So looking at this is group 2 on the road. So group 2 on the road today, Bjarhead, Gluma, Sinelli. These riders are indeed our chase group, and not looking to make much damage into that gap. So we have 20 riders at the front. We have 6 chase riders in group 2. Everybody at the moment very, very happy and very, very comfortable to tap along in this ride, and just to actually get the group to move between the transitions of the final climbs of lap 1 and the start of climbing on lap 2. So as at 21.8 kilometres travelled, this lead group are still working very comfortably together and taking as much rest and recovery as they possibly can before the climbing starts in earnest. So what are we going to see today, and what action are we going to see today? I cannot imagine that the lead groups and the people who want to be 1, 2, 3 are going to be happy taking 20 riders into the finish today for a 20 up sprint. So action is going to have to happen. A little bit further down the road, the next chasing group we've got on the road, Lantani, Gonzalez, Hermansen, Santiago, Fua, Bardeskaya. Another group can tend to sit as a group and work together to transition from the end of lap 1 into the climbing sections of lap 2. So I think it's going to be the climbs today that really starts to dictate, especially these climbs on lap 2, these finishing positions today. So at 22.5 kilometres, the lead group hit the first Category 4 climb of lap 2. 12.2% average gradient at the moment, as these riders still all looking as though they're in one group. Nobody's looking as though they have been dropped at the foothills of this, but the group is stretching slightly, but only slightly, as we start to see these women work their way up this climb. So Karub Quevedo just working her way steadily, comfortably in the middle. Well, actually, I say in the middle, probably slightly towards the back of the group, but knowing Karub Quevedo, she won't be at the back for very long. So pushing on, and this whole group staying together, surprisingly so, but quite comfortable up this first climb. This first climb is probably not the one where I would expect the action to happen. They will roll over the top of this with a long descent and then a short flatland section between the top of this climb and the next. The next climb, they will go up the ascent, down the descent, and then straight in to the second category 4 climb on each lap. That really, I think, is where we are going to see this race break up, if it is going to break up, because that is where the danger can happen and the gaps can form really quickly. This climb, we have more of an opportunity for groups to come back and for work to be done. And you can see the brow of the hill coming, and you can see these 20 riders. There's probably only 2 seconds separating the front and the back of this group. And unless someone really pushes on at the front, I think we are going to see this group go over the top of this climb together today. So we are a little stretched on the road. This group is a little stretched out, but I don't think much damage is going to be done on this climb unless there is a real push now at the front of this pack for that brow of the hill that is coming. But I don't think that's going to happen too much as we see this gradient now topping out 12.5%. It's been a push on the legs for this front group, and Julie Sanchez, our category 2 rider, and it's really interesting watching our category 2 riders pushing at the front, because there's too many category 2 riders in this group for them to take to the finish, regardless of what the category 1 racers want to do. And Sanchez has decided that's too many to take in, so she's pushed on, and she's going to try and use the technique of using the momentum as you go over the brow of the hill to extend the gap and extend the group. And you know what? She's currently at 8 seconds. It's likely to come down quite quickly, but she's used that technique of pushing on and pushing over the top of the hill and going down the other side to stretch the distance between her and the group behind. And at the moment, it's working for her. She's still out the front. She's out the front. There are 19 riders in the chase group behind. Sanchez still has 4 or 5 seconds, but Brogan is pushing on. Cordero is behind. Maria Marin, too, is coming through. And the pace that the pack will move out on the descent with the draft is going to be probably too much for one lone rider out front to stay out. In fact, Bauer has seen the danger, and Jojo Bauer has decided she can't let her go. As Bauer pushes on 4.5 watts per kilo, Bauer is making the catch, and I am not surprised. We have seen Jojo Bauer time trial her way to a win, and if the pace is easy and the pace is steady during the race, pretty much like it has been today, a 10 to 15 minute time trial effort from Jojo Bauer at the end of a race is something she has done before to win. And these women know that, but no one has gone with her. And Sanchez is out there in the lead, Bauer in second place, and a gap now back to this group of 18 riders. So we've got 2 riders out front. We've got Bauer, we've got Sanchez, a short gap back, but they've sat up now. So Sanchez and Bauer sit up and the group come back together. So a little test of the legs as Gemma Brogan just pushes on there. Jojo Bauer, Sanchez, Zabata, Garioni, Cordero, Marin. These riders have all come back together again. Sanchez put a little stretch of the legs in towards the top of the climb. She took the momentum over the top and down the other side, just stretching the group out. A little bit too much for Bauer's liking as Bauer pushed on and closed the gap. Over the top and down the other side, the momentum and the draft from the group of 18 chasing riders closed it down, and that group are now all back together again. These women are all back together again as they cross the bridge for the last time. The next climb is coming, and they can see it in the distance as they are tapping their legs across. So as the next climb comes up in front of them, heading out and off the bridge and into the forest, Brogan, Bauer, Zabata, Olsen, Ortiz, towards the front of this group of 20 riders. This is a strong, strong group. No one's been broken yet. A couple of pushes on the climb, but again, some recovery between the climb. That recovery is not going to come this time because once they get to the top of this climb now, so this climb, the riders have just approached 800 meters in length, 6.3% average gradient. But as you can see, currently at 10.2, it goes much steeper than that. This climb, once they get to the top, they will drop straight off the other side and then straight into our final category 4 climb of the day, where the gradient will top 15%. This is really fast, this is really hard, and this is starting to drop riders off the back of this group. So Maria Jose Veledis Gomez at the moment in trouble here and unable to stay with the group as they push on. So 20 become 19. So 19 riders in our lead group now, and it's looking as though that push at the front is just catching out Quevedo. So it's looking as though Quevedo is getting caught here on this as well. Surprising, that absolutely surprising, because I would not be expecting Quevedo to be the one off the back of this group as they go up this climb today. So as Quevedo gets caught out, we start to see this group push on. And this group continue to travel here today. So the lead group now pushing on, the lead group pushing as they come to the top of this climb. They come to the top of this climb and they start to move over and down the other side. So these riders today: Maria Marin, Julie Sanchez, Gemma Brogan, Jojo Bauer, Maria Ortiz, Rosaria Estrada, Jeanette Menzies, these strong riders in this lead group. We're pushing on as they start the descent. We've got a couple of riders gapped off the back. So this race today is not over yet, and we are dropping down off of this climb, this uncategorized climb, before the riders see the gradient kick and change dramatically. And as it does so, it comes hard and it comes fast. So 900 meters of climbing, this category 4 climb, and Morgane Olsen is stretching her legs off the front. Again, it's a category 2 rider who really doesn't want to take 20 riders into the finish. So Olsen pushing off the front, responses coming behind as this group start to stretch a little. So who is in here? The riders that are in here, category 2 rider off the front here, but we've got Julie Sanchez in here as well, Luz Carmona, some really strong category 2 riders, Stefani Gavaria, Barbara Zabata. These riders will continue to want to make this hard as this lead group starts to shed a few more riders off the back. Morgane Olsen is still pushing 5 watts per kilo at the front of this group. Gemma Brogan now responding and pushing on here. Maria Ortiz, Maria Marin. But these riders look as though they are just watching the front of this race field. They are not wanting to push. They are not wanting to go. And it's looking as though we've still got 15, 16 riders in this group. As Gavaria, it looks as though Gavaria and Zabata are the ones who are starting to be distanced at the back of this group. So as small gaps start to open on the back of this group, it's looking like we've got 15, 16 women still in this lead group as they move through and round the bend here on this final category 4 climb of the day. So the group is stretching a little, but not a lot. No one has put a big attack in. So Menzies on the front, Brogan in 2, changing rapidly as these riders go through and off here. Zabata, Gavaria, Moreno look as though there's some damage here. These look as though they are the riders who are being distanced at the back here. So Jenny Sanchez as well here. No, in fact, I think we've got Liliana Moreno there in terms of being distanced off the group. 15 riders in the group it is looking at now, as we are in with 3 riders who are looking as though they are having difficulties here maintaining this and maintaining staying in that lead group. So what was a group of 20 went down to a group of 19. We are now down to a smaller group of riders. We are now down to this group that is looking as though we've got about 14 riders in this group. 14 riders, as no one is pushing on the front. So, in fact, Jojo Bauer was just off the back there. Bauer just pushing on. We've got Moreno and Bauer. Bauer working at 5 watts per kilo, covering the back of that group. But Bauer is not in that group at the moment, and it is stretching away at the front. Liliana Moreno is back in there. Jenny Sanchez is there. Bauer is putting in 6 watts per kilo at the back to make sure she gets back into that group. And I can't imagine Bauer is going to let that drop. But Gemma Brogan on the front and Maria Marin are no longer pushing, but allowing the back of that group to all come back together again. So Bauer indeed is back on that group. 16 riders still in this lead group. No one has put an attack in. No one has done any damage on this climb. So we are at 28.4 kilometers. We are up and over the top of the final category 4 climb in this race today, and our riders are descending off of that final category 4 climb. They have some rolling transition lands following that descent before they hit that final climb. It's long, 1.6 kilometers, but it is not that steep, only an average gradient of 1.5%. When they get to the top of that final climb, it is a 3.15 kilometer distance to the finish. They drop down and then it is a long flat run in to the finish line today. A long flat run in would indicate a sprint with this group today. This group is 16 riders still, a 16 rider up sprint. I mean, who would want that? We're in with Jojo Bauer. Jojo Bauer has won the sprint before. She's won it by time trialing away from the group as well. Jojo Bauer has won in many different ways, and it's going to be really interesting to see whether she is in the mix today. Slightly further back down the field now, we are in with Gavaria, having been dropped from that group. A large number of riders actually slowly being dropped in distance from that group. So Gavaria now actually on her own, Zabata just behind her. Likely these 2 riders will probably come together. Over 3 minutes now back to rider 19 on the road today, which is Karuk Quevedo, as Brogan pushes on at the front here. So Gemma Brogan pushing on 6 watts per kilo, 5.5 watts per kilo, putting a bit of a dig in, clearly not wanting a 16 up sprint to take the win today. So Brogan pushing on. Sanchez, I was going to say Sanchez responding, but Sanchez not responding. In fact, a large number of those riders in that group sitting up and taking a recovery. I think they are planning that this is going to come to a sprint, and that they need to reserve as much as they can before that happens. So whilst these riders seem to be sitting up in this front pack of 16, taking as much recovery as they can for a flatland sprint, we drop back in with BR Head here. So BR Head in with Galuma pushing on and riding. We have Ones and twos and threes and fours scattered all over this course today. It was a large pack at the start of this race, and each climb has shed a few more riders, creating ones, twos, and threes forming all over this race course today. So be our head here currently on this final climb of this final category 4 climb today, as we drop back in here with this front group. So this front group today are continuing to roll. They're continuing to roll through and off, and they're continuing to roll quite carefully and quite comfortably. So they have 4.9 kilometers still to go in this race, and it is pretty much going to come down to the last climb, which they are literally currently just in the foothills of, and then a downhill and flatland finish. So if anybody's going to go and anybody's going to want to try and break this group, now is the opportunity to do it, because there is not a lot of opportunity coming up once we have gone over the brow of this climb. But has anybody got the tactic in the back pocket to attack here? Because are they just all very, very comfortable to sit and take a toe to the finish sprint? So Brogan on the front here of this pack, as we drop over to Lynette Cabanata, who is currently in pole position here in this category 3 race. So two riders here, Cabanata and Ribaldo here, 1 and 2, 43 and 44 on the road today, with a 40-second gap back to what looks like third place in that category 3 race. So these two battling it out here for first and second in the category 3 race, and they have been battling it out for some time. 6 seconds down the road, Jenny Tan, one of our category 2 riders, and I think they are about to form a group of 3. So a little bit of help along the way there with Jenny Tan just closing the gap there and forming a group of 3 on the road. A little bit further back down our race field, it's looking as though Terry Tandingen is riding strongly in this category 4 race. We had Georgina Hyde working really well, but it's looking as though Hyde has now been passed by Tandingen and passed by Ella Vink. So Ella Vink about 30 seconds back from Tandingen, and these climbs are changing the positions in these lower categories. So whilst we still have no indication of what's happening really in category 1 and category 2, category 3 and category 4 are playing out on those climbs, and those climbs are really dictating the racing and the structure of who's 1, 2 and 3. So back in with our leading group of 16 women, and they are still all sat on top of each other, looking at each other. No one is willing to poke their head out of the pack today. This group are sat here really comfortably. Oliveri at the moment, heart rate 163, tapping along around 3 watts per kilo, comfortably in the group, making use of the draft. Gemma Brogan on the front of this group, 2 watts per kilo. This is becoming a let's rest, let's recover, and let's wait for a final sprint. I am really hoping someone is going to put a big kick in here and catch these women snoozing, because they really are snoozing and just taking it as easy as possible. So whilst this front group rolls through with 2.8 kilometers left of this race today, this race is starting to move as I see an 8 watt per kilo from Jojo Bauer and a 10 watt per kilo from Gemma Brogan. They've been listening, because Bauer has decided, and quite rightly too, that there is who wants to take 16 women into a sprint for a Cat 1 and a Cat 2 win today. Bauer, we've seen her do this before. Can anybody go with her? So 6 watts per kilo currently from Jojo Bauer, with the last 2 kilometers to go. Brogan is pulling the pack along, but no one is really responding massively. Bauer has backed off a little as this group start coming back together again. There's a couple of seconds, but Bauer's not gone clear enough yet. Brogan is pushing on, but the pushing on from inside the pack is taking the pack with them, because the power of this draft with 16 riders in this group is really towing everyone along. So Jojo Bauer has pushed on, and she's going to need to kick again. She's got a 2-second gap as she kicks again. Come on, Bauer. Let's see this go. Let's see this stick. Bauer kicks, and she's pushing on harder. 4 watts per kilo. She's dropping back a little bit, trying to work out whether it's stuck. Maria Marin is currently at the front of the group behind. Is Marin going to come across 2? A 2 up would make it much easier. It's not a big gap yet. So as we're coming into the latter stages of this women's race today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, we have a group of women here, 16 riders in total, and Jojo Bauer pushed on trying to break the group. She's tried to go clear. She's down to 1 second. Brogan is chasing. Menzies is there. Maria Marin is there as well. They are not pushing hard at the moment. Bauer is just hung out on the front. She's hung out for about a second, and they're leaving her out there at the moment. So Bauer is hung out on the front here. Just 1 second back to the chasing group of 15 riders behind her. What a shot as we start to come in to the last kilometre of this race today. So with less than 1 kilometre to go, Bauer is just hung out on the front of this group as they start to catch her. Got 10 watts per kilo here coming out from Giraldo Arrayas, one of our Category 2 riders. 13 watts. This is a long run out. She's still got 700 metres to go as Giraldo Arras tries to put the power down and tries to go clear of this group behind. It is a long sprint for the finish here because the banner is not even in sight as Giraldo Arrayas goes, but the group snowball over the top of her as Maria Marin comes through. Roccosi kicking at 9 watts per kilo. Garioni, Marin, Brogan. Who is going to wait a little bit longer, and who is going to wait for this finish as we start to see 300 metres still to go? It was a long one, but Maria Marin is coming fast at 12 watts per kilo. Garioni at 7. Marin goes at 10. Rocco goes at 11. I think it's going to be clear because I think Rocco is going to get it with Marin in second and Sanchez in third. Let's take a look at that when that comes up on the screen. So, Del Rocchio there, 1 hour and 5 minutes takes that in that sprint. It is from Julie Sanchez and Martina Garioni, our Category 2 riders there. Maria Marin in 4th place and Jojo Bauer taking 5th. Wow, it did end up as a huge sprint today. And that sprint decided not just our Category 1 race, but our Category 2 race as well. The women seem to like a sprint. They liked to sprint last week. We had a 4-way sprint for Category 1 and a 5-way sprint for Category 2. This week, we've had a 16-up sprint that has decided both Category 1 and Category 2, and some outstanding riding today and a lot of cat and mouse. Check out all the results on MyWhoosh.com. They will be there up and after the race today, not just Category 1 and Category 2, but our Category 3 and Category 4 races results as well. So yet again, some fantastic racing today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in November. I can't wait for qualifier number 3 next week. I shall be here with Matt Payne talking you through all the action. In the meantime, keep up to date with all the MyWhoosh social media channels on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. check out the previous races on YouTube and check out the finishes to Category 3 and Category 4 and see the final results on mywhoosh.com. I'll be back next week. We'll see you then.